On my birthday, Ryan was hosting a welcome banquet for his first love and didn't come home all night. When it was his first love's birthday, he booked the most luxurious restaurant half a month in advance and prepared a grand dinner. I dropped the divorce papers and turned around to marry his elder brother. However, Ryan chased after me to the church and knelt in front of the priest, cutting his wrist, begging me, "Jocelyn, please don't marry someone else, okay? I can't live without you." On the night before my birthday, Ryan came back from a business negotiation. It was already 11 o'clock at night. I was drying my hair in the bathroom and stuck my head out to take a look at him. "Are you back?" "Yes, I'm back." Ryan changed into his slippers and walked quickly towards me. He naturally took the hairdryer from my hand and gently rubbed my hair. "You took a bath so late. You must have been waiting for me for a long time." I nodded and rubbed my eyes sleepily. To be honest, I was kind of looking forward to what gift Ryan would give me the next day. Since I was 18 years old, every year the gifts were carefully selected by him. Lipstick gift boxes, diamond necklaces, 9,999 roses, candlelight dinners made by himself. Even when I was obsessed with Otom games at the age of 16, he bought a whole room of Otom game peripherals for me. He also smiled and said to me, "Jocelyn, your Otom game husband will love you forever. So will I." He had given almost every possible gift. So I was even more looking forward to what this year's gift would be. But early the next morning, Ryan went out. He didn't come home until 8 o'clock in the evening. I anxiously called him. Ryan spoke first. "What's the matter, honey?" He seemed to be in a very quiet place and his voice had an echo. "Nothing. It's just that you haven't come back at this time, and I'm a bit worried about you." I held my breath, trying to hear the background sound on the phone. My woman's intuition told me there must be something wrong if he didn't come back today. Sure enough, suddenly a clear and lively laugh came from the other end of the phone. "Is there a female colleague beside you?" "Oh, yes. A new female colleague in the company, Ruby. She's my junior high school classmate. You know her. She just came back from abroad last week. Well, we're having a welcome banquet for her." "Did it have to be today?" I took a deep breath and tried my best to suppress the complaint in my tone. This was the first time that Ryan didn't report to me about a dinner appointment. Moreover, everyone knew that Ruby had been chasing Ryan for 10 years. On the day Ryan and I got married, Ruby went abroad. "I can't help it, honey. Please understand me. I really can't get away this time." Hearing this, I couldn't hold back anymore and raised my voice a little on the phone. "Do you still remember that today is my birthday?" Ryan suddenly fell silent. After a while, he gently comforted me. "Of course I remember. I've already prepared a gift for you. It's in the bedside table on the right side of the bedroom. Go and have a look." "Silly girl, how could I forget your birthday? Go and have a look. You'll surely like it. Be good. I'll hang up first." Before I could respond again, the phone was hung up. I was so angry that I went to the bedroom. I thought that if the gift didn't satisfy me, I definitely wouldn't let Ryan enter the house. But when I opened the drawer, I was completely dumbfounded. There wasn't even a gift box inside. Only a black mouse was lying there alone. I took a picture of the mouse and sent it to Ryan. "Is this the birthday gift you gave me?" Ryan replied to me in seconds, "Yes." My hand holding the mouse became colder and colder. This mouse was the one that he bought home 2 days ago, tried it and didn't like it, and then casually threw it into the drawer. My eyebrows twitched, and my eyes unconsciously became blurred. I sent him another message and asked, "So, my birthday gift is just a piece of trash that you didn't want after buying it and didn't even have a packaging box, right?" Ryan didn't reply. He didn't reply all night. He didn't come back all night. Early the next morning, I directly changed the lock of the house and moved to the one-bedroom apartment that I bought by myself. At 12 o'clock at noon, Ryan finally replied to me. He ignored my previous question and instead shamelessly asked me, "Honey, where are you? Why did you change the lock of the house?" I didn't reply and directly blocked him. This was the first time I had been so angry since he started chasing me. I decided to teach him a good lesson. Ryan, as usual, put aside his pride to coax me. First, he bombarded me with various takeout orders and money transfers. Then he directly ran to the downstairs of my new house and held up a banner to admit his mistake. Please, my fairy wife, take a look at my message. I really have something to explain. It was 38 degrees Celsius outside. Ryan held the banner high and stood there for 2 hours. Looking at his sunburned face, I couldn't bear it after all and let him in, wanting to hear what good explanations he had. Ryan wiped the sweat on his forehead. Without having time to drink water or take a shower, he directly dragged me to explain, "Honey, you scared me to death. I really thought you didn't want me anymore." I glanced at him and sat on the sofa angrily. "TSK, go accompany your first love. Why do you care about me? I can be dismissed with a broken mouse." Ryan took out a game cartridge and a red game console from his arms and handed them to me. "Silly girl, this is the gift I gave you." I remembered the wrong place for the gift. Actually, the gift prepared for you was put in the drawer of my office. But I didn't want you to receive nothing yesterday, so I could only say that the mouse was for you. I took the game cartridge and took a look. It was a handheld game called Animal Crossing. I had always wanted to play it before, but the game cartridge wasn't available on the Chinese mainland and had to be brought back from abroad. Ryan put my hand on his face and rubbed my palm like a puppy. "All right, honey, I'm wrong. I'll definitely remember it in the future and will never misplace my wife's gifts." Time passed quickly, and summer passed in a flash. On the day of the beginning of autumn, Ryan bought me the first cup of milk tea and the first pack of stir-fried chestnuts in autumn. My colleagues in the office all envied me. "Jocelyn, your husband is so nice. I wish my husband could be as considerate as yours." At that time, I was eating the sweet chestnut kernels, and I couldn't hide the smile on my face. Buzz, my phone suddenly rang. It was a call from an unknown number. For some reason, when I saw that string of numbers, my heart skipped a beat for no reason and I felt a bit flustered vaguely. "Hello, Jocelyn. I'm the front desk manager of the New Moon restaurant. The dinner is ready. You can come over at any time." I frowned. "What dinner?" The New Moon restaurant is the most luxurious restaurant in City A. Although Ryan is rich in the spirit of thrift, in the years since we got married I had only gone to eat there with him more than 10 times. The front desk clerk was stunned for a moment, then checked the mobile phone number again, confirmed that she hadn't dialed the wrong number, and then continued to say to me, "Are you Ryan's wife? Last month, your husband reserved a private dinner for tonight here to celebrate your birthday." "Today? My birthday?" "Yes. Your husband also specifically told us to make this birthday banquet a good one. It seems that he's going to give you a surprise. Mrs. Ryan, you're so lucky. The phone number he left is also yours." Indeed. Ryan had a habit. He had the habit of leaving my phone number for the opposite sex. When someone asked him why, he said, "My wife is a jealous person. If she knew that other people of the opposite sex had my phone number, she would definitely be jealous." But I couldn't understand. Why did Ryan reserve a birthday dinner for someone else last month? Who on earth was that person? With suspicion in my heart I felt on pins and needles all afternoon. Finally, when it was 6 o'clock after work, I directly took a taxi and rushed to the New Moon restaurant. I didn't alert the enemy by contacting Ryan, nor did I question him. I just wanted to go to the scene in person to see who this birthday banquet was for. As soon as I stepped into the New Moon restaurant I saw a huge line of words printed on the reception banner. "Wish Ms. Ruby eternal youth and beauty. Happy birthday, cute Ruby." I tightened my grip on my handbag. I felt like my breath was frozen. Ruby. It was actually Ruby. "Jocelyn. You've also come to my birthday banquet." Suddenly a bright female voice came from behind. Ruby was wearing a snow-white wedding dress and running towards me on high heels. She smiled sweetly at me and said, "By the way, where's Ryan? He was just here. Could you please tell him for me that I really like this birthday banquet and thank him for arranging it for me personally." As soon as she finished speaking, Ryan's figure appeared at the entrance of the restaurant. He was carefully carrying a 5-layer cake. There was a cartoon figure on the top layer of the cake, wearing the same dress as Ruby and looking just like Ruby. He said to the restaurant manager, "You must take good care of this cake and don't let it get damaged. It's hot and the cream on it is easy to melt. Why don't you put the cake in the freezer first and take it out later?" After giving all these instructions, he then turned his head and noticed me and Ruby. In an instant, Ryan's smile froze on his face. He walked towards me at a loss. "Jocelyn? Why are you here?" "Eh? Ryan, didn't you tell Jocelyn that it's my birthday today?" Ruby clung to him and took his arm. One was wearing a white wedding dress, and the other was wearing a black suit. They looked so well matched standing together. "Oh, it's a birthday. With your outfits, people who don't know would think that you two are getting married today." I sneered and picked up the champagne on the dining table and splashed it at Ruby. Ryan blocked it with his body sideways. The pale yellow wine splashed all over him. Ruby exclaimed, "Ryan. Jocelyn, if you're not satisfied with me, you can just say it directly. Why did you do this to Ryan?" Ryan pulled a long face and glared at me. "Jocelyn, it's someone else's birthday. Isn't it a bit too unreasonable for you to make a fuss like this?" At this moment I suddenly regretted it. I regretted that I had splashed Ruby instead of Ryan. Flies don't bite seamless eggs. The most disgusting thing is still the fly that flies around everywhere. Realizing that I had said something inappropriate, Ryan awkwardly touched his nose and reached out to pull me, trying to ease the atmosphere. "Ah, forget it. Since you're already here, just sit down and have dinner together." Before he could finish his words, I directly pulled my arm out. I also took off my 2 high heels and threw them at Ryan in front of everyone. The tip of the high heel scratched 2 blood marks on Ryan's jaw. I walked away barefoot without looking back. The moment I turned around, tears couldn't help falling down. Ryan didn't chase after me. I even heard the conversation between him and Ruby behind me. "Ruby, I'm sorry. Your sister-in-law has been spoiled by me. She loses her temper whenever something doesn't go her way." "It's okay, Ryan. I know you've been through a lot. Alas, you're still the sensible one. Look, some people seem to love you on the surface, but in fact their hearts have already rotted inside." I still clearly remember, on the welcome banner at the entrance of the New Moon restaurant, the names of Ryan and I were once written. "Wish the bride Jocelyn and the groom Ryan a harmonious union for 100 years and eternal love." It's only been a few short years and someone has already changed their heart. I didn't go home. Instead, I took a taxi and went to the bar alone. I didn't even know how many glasses of drinks I had consumed until everything around me became blurry. Then a long, slender and fair hand reached out and snatched the glass from me. "Stop drinking," the owner of the hand said. I propped up my head half-heartedly and forced myself to look at him. There was a face that resembled Ryan's but was countless times more good-looking than Ryan's. It was Jason, Ryan's elder brother. He picked me up horizontally and I clung to his arm, feeling sleepy. In a daze, I heard him say in a plaintive voice, "Didn't you say you'd live a better life without me? Why have you made yourself like this now?" Jason carried me back home. He lay in the living room and watched over me all night. I woke up in the middle of the night with a stomachache and started vomiting. He immediately got up, brought me the trash can and poured warm boiled water for me. I mumbled in a daze, "Tisk, you've finally learned to take care of others." Jason was silent. After a long while he nodded reluctantly. The next day I was woken up by a rapid ringing of my mobile phone. "Hello? Are you a family member of Mr. Joseph?" Mr. Joseph had a sudden heart attack at home and is currently undergoing emergency treatment. Joseph was my grandfather's name. I was raised by my grandfather since I was a child. He was the most important person to me in this world. Thinking of my grandfather's wrinkled, kind and gentle face, I felt a buzzing in my ears. I was so flustered that I put on my shoes and rushed into the elevator. My fingers kept trembling, and I pressed the F1 button several times but couldn't get it to light up. Jason held my cold hand and said softly, "Don't worry. Grandpa will surely be okay. I'll drive you there." When we arrived at the hospital, Grandpa was still in the process of being rescued. During that time, the doctor issued 2 critical illness notices in succession. He said that Grandpa had a heart attack due to emotional excitement. When the illness struck, he was watering the flowers in the garden. It was a kind neighbor passing by who found him and sent him to the hospital. How could you leave an elderly person who can't take care of himself alone at home? Don't you know how dangerous it is? Alone? How could there be only Grandpa at home? Since Grandpa couldn't stand on his legs and had to use a wheelchair, Ryan spent a lot of money to find a caregiver for Grandpa. The caregiver aunt would come every day. So why wasn't she there today? I immediately called Ryan. He seemed to still be angry and hung up on me 5 times in a row. I was so anxious that I grabbed my own hair and paced back and forth. Jason rubbed my head and comforted me. I'll call him. Do you have the caregiver aunt's phone number? Call her directly and ask her what's going on. When people are in a hurry, their minds really do tend to go blank. With Jason's reminder, I immediately remembered that I had saved the caregiver aunt's phone number in the memo on my mobile phone. I called her again. The caregiver aunt answered immediately, Mrs. Ryan. Auntie, hello. Why didn't you come to take care of my grandfather today? My grandfather had a sudden heart attack and is now being rescued in the hospital. Probably because I couldn't control my tone and it sounded rather harsh. The caregiver aunt was stunned for a moment and then hurriedly explained, You've misunderstood, Mrs. Ryan. It was Jason who arranged for me to take care of his classmate Ruby in the hospital these 2 days. Ruby has appendicitis and is currently having an intravenous drip in the hospital. Don't worry, Mrs. Ryan. Grandpa will surely be okay. If you're worried, I'll come over right away. The aunt was halfway through her words when the light in the operating room went out. I saw the chief surgeon come out dejectedly. He stared at me and finally shook his head weakly. I'm sorry. We've done our best. Suddenly, it felt like a huge boulder was pressing on my chest and I couldn't breathe. I slumped to the ground and burst into tears. Grandpa, finally, Ryan answered Jason's call. What's the matter? Calling more than 10 times? On the other end of the phone, Ryan sounded annoyed, huffing and puffing as if he was carrying something heavy. Jason coldly spat out 2 words, Where are you? Ryan stammered, I'm at the hospital. What's the matter? Oh, never mind. The porridge I bought for someone is going to get cold. I'll talk to you later. At this moment, even a fool could understand. Ryan was visiting Ruby in the hospital. Was it necessary to involve so many people just for a case of appendicitis? At this time, the doctor gave me Grandpa's belongings. There were only the keys to the house and a red mobile phone. That was all. I took the mobile phone and checked WeChat. I found that Grandpa had taken the initiative to send 2 voice messages to Ryan in the morning. Ryan, are you having a quarrel with Jocelyn? Why didn't either of you answer Grandpa's calls? Jocelyn is simple-minded, straightforward, and outspoken. If she did something to make you angry, could you please be more tolerant of her? Grandpa would be grateful to you. Later, Ryan also replied with a voice message. But when I pressed the hands-free button, Ruby's voice came out. Brother Ryan, do you know what my birthday wish is? Her voice was full of excitement. I hope we'll never be separated. Ryan replied, Okay, we'll never be separated. So it turned out that Grandpa had a heart attack after hearing this voice message. I covered my mouth and tears streamed down my face. Jason's face turned livid. He pulled me into his arms and coldly ordered Ryan, You have 10 minutes to get to the Municipal People's Hospital. Bring your first love with you. Ryan finally dawdled for 20 minutes before showing up in front of us. Ruby followed behind him, reluctantly. Ryan saw Jason wiping my tears with a tissue and instantly widened his eyes. He rushed over and grabbed Jason's collar, his eyes bulging with anger. Brother, how could you do such a thing behind my back? Jason was half a head taller than Ryan. He stood up and punched Ryan straight on the nose. Bastard. Do you think everyone is like you? Is Ruby your wife or Jocelyn your wife? Are you so crazy now that you'd sacrifice everything for a Ruby? Ryan covered his nose and let out a painful cry. Blood gushed out from his nostrils. He still wanted to argue. It was clearly Jocelyn who ruined Ruby's birthday party that day. We didn't even get angry. What right does she have to be angry? Before Ryan could finish his words, Jason punched him twice more. This time, Ryan had 2 teeth knocked out, and half of his face swelled up like a bun. He grimaced and shouted at me, "Jocelyn, explain to my brother and tell him to stop hitting me." Ruby hid in the corner and said in a low voice, "Brother Jason, stop hitting. Brother Ryan is going to be beaten to death by you." Jason pretended to want to hit Ruby too. Ruby was so frightened that she quickly covered her own head. Slap, I raised my hand and slapped Ryan. This was the first time I had hit him since we met. "Grandpa is gone. And it's over between you and me." Ryan frowned and muttered softly, "Is it necessary?" In response to him was Jason's fist. Ryan was beaten so hard that his stomach acid refluxed. He crouched in the corner, vomiting continuously. I ignored him, took off the wedding ring on my ring finger and threw it at Ruby's face. "Here you are. Pick it up and cherish it as a treasure." "Oh, appendicitis, right?" I bent down and took a cup of boiling water from the water dispenser nearby. I poured it over Ruby's head. "Drink more hot water. You'll recover faster." Ruby's screams echoed throughout the whole floor. Accompanied by Jason, I took care of Grandpa's funeral arrangements. Moreover, I also entrusted him to help me and Ryan with the divorce procedures. Jason entrusted the chief lawyer in his company, and he handled these matters with ease. Soon, the divorce procedures between me and Ryan were completed. I didn't bother to see him. I just sent him the divorce papers, bought a plane ticket, and prepared to go abroad to relax. On the night before I was about to leave, Jason asked to see me for the last time. After hesitating several times, I finally agreed. The night in City A was brightly lit. The river breeze blew past my ears, but I only felt a chill all over my body. Jason bought me a drink, brown sugar ginger tea. "Have some." I took the drink and took a big sip. The sweet and slightly spicy liquid slid down my throat. Taking this as an excuse, my eyes became a bit moist again. "Jason, I have nothing left. When I was 7 years old, my parents divorced and each went on to live their own happy lives. When I was 18 years old, you suddenly barged into my world and then left without a word. Now I've been abandoned again." Jason didn't say anything. He took off the pull tab of his can of cola and put it on the ring finger of my left hand, covering the mark left by the ring I used to wear. Wearing a ring for a long time would leave a mark on the finger. Jason looked at me, his eyes bright, with a bit of hope in them. He tentatively said to me, "If you're willing, I will always be behind you." I tightened my grip on the ginger tea. I took off the pull tab ring and threw it into the non-recyclable trash bin. "Jason, my love is not recyclable garbage. Once it's gone, it's gone." After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave. Jason grabbed me and pulled me into his arms. I could hear his strong and fast heartbeat in his chest. His steady and low, hoarse voice came from above my head. "I didn't leave without a word. Before I went abroad to study that year, I sent you a text message asking if you wanted me to leave. If you didn't want me to, I was willing to give up everything and stay with you. But you replied, 'Get lost.' Then you blocked me." I was stunned and looked at him blankly. "Back then, I clearly couldn't get through when I called you. I went to ask Ryan about you, and he told me that you had already gone abroad and just didn't bother to break up with me." Jason was also stunned. "I didn't say that. I even specifically asked him to ask you. If you regretted it, I would come back to China at any time. But later you sent a message saying, 'I'll live a better life without you.'" Jason took out his mobile phone and showed me a photo of a text message from nearly 10 years ago. Someone had used my mobile phone number to send him a text message. "Jason, I'll live a better life without you. Don't contact me again. May we both be well." At this point we all understood. Ryan's 2 lies had made us misunderstand each other for several years. It was like the cotton stuffed in my chest had suddenly been taken away. My heart was aching and cold. I squatted on the ground and burst into bitter tears. 10 years ago, Jason and I were high school classmates who had just fallen in love and secretly liked each other. Originally, we had decided to be together openly after graduating from high school. However, on the eve of the college entrance examination, the news that Jason was going abroad hit my ears like a bolt from the blue. Since he left, I had been crying every day and was in a daze, which led to my failure in the college entrance examination. In the end, I only got into a second-tier university. Ryan accompanied me every day, asking about my well-being. He encouraged me to take the postgraduate entrance examination and came to visit my grandpa every week. As time passed, I was touched by him. I thought he had filled the hole in my heart. Little did I know that all the grievances I suffered were caused by him. Jason and I sat by the river all night and talked throughout the night. Over the years, it seemed that we had countless things we wanted to tell each other, until the sky began to turn white in the east. Jason tentatively hooked my little finger with his own. "Jocelyn, this time I want to ask you in person. Could you take me with you wherever you go? I'm willing to go anywhere." I didn't struggle and pretended not to care as I said, "Your legs are your own. I can't control you." Jason and I stayed in City L for 3 months. He happened to have a branch office here, so it was very convenient for him to handle work. Just a few days after we arrived, Ryan sent me an angry text message scolding me. "Do you think my brother would want a second-hand woman like you? Divorce? Without me, Ryan, how could you be where you are today? Besides me, who else can you be with?" There were more than 10 messages like this later. I was too lazy to read them and directly blocked and deleted him. In the following 3 months, Jason and I lived like a young couple every day. Every morning when I woke up, I would see him sitting beside the French window, holding his computer and working. At noon, he would cook by himself, and then in the afternoon, he would drive me to the Chinese supermarket to do shopping. In the evening, we would go to watch the sunset and the ebb tide. He would naively draw a heart with a coconut branch on the golden and soft sandy beach. Jason was really attentive. He brought the little gourd that Grandpa liked most during his lifetime to the seaside. Grandpa had said before, his biggest regret in life was that he had never seen the sea with his own eyes. I gratefully hugged him. "Thank you." Jason patted my back. The two of us held the gourd and sat by the sea, enjoying the evening breeze for a long time. Finally, some media noticed the fact that I had divorced Ryan. They reported it widely on the internet. It was said that the Yinji group had a new mistress. Ryan immediately jumped out to respond, "We're not divorced. It's all rumors. If anyone spreads rumors again, I'll sue them immediately." He began to rush to repair our relationship that was already broken beyond repair. He kept posting on Weibo with the photos we took before. In this way, he pretended that we were still together. He dug out a photo of us holding hands from who knows how many years ago, with the pixels so blurred that it was almost a mess, and posted it. The caption was, "I love my wife Jocelyn very much and she loves me too." At this time, Jason logged into the account of Ryan's family group and officially announced, "Ryan has completed the divorce procedures with his first wife Jocelyn and the two have no relationship now." The Yinji Group was a company founded by Ryan with Jason's investment. Jason was a big shot in the circle and controlled the economic lifeline of City A. It could be said that Jason's words were much more useful than Ryan's. Countless onlookers began to explore the truth. The photos of Ryan celebrating Ruby's birthday were also dug out. Since then, he had been given a new title, the Green Bastard of City A, Ryan. The next day, news came from City A that Ryan had been in a car accident. His driver said, that night Ryan drank too much. When he saw a woman on the road whose figure resembled his ex-wife, he got excited and tried to turn my steering wheel to turn around and chase after her. As a result, the car lost control and hit the guardrail. I smiled and complained to Jason, "Don't you think this kind of person is sick?" Jason nodded, "Yes." That night I received 2 messages from an unknown user on the music app. The first one, "Jocelyn, where are you? Why don't you come to see me?" The second one, "Jocelyn, I've been so miserable in the months since you left. I feel like my heart is being stabbed every day." The third one, "Ruby and I really just caught up on old times." After reading them, I directly canceled my account and registered a new one to listen to music. 3 months later, it happened to be Christmas. Jason used the old trick again and wanted to draw a picture for me on the beach. His drawing skills were really bad. Even without thinking I knew that he could only draw hearts. But this time there was a shiny diamond in the middle of the heart he drew. In front of many tourists around. He got down on one knee and proposed to me, "Jocelyn, can I be your support?" He gently placed the little gourd that Grandpa liked beside the heart and pretended to be anxious and urged me, "Hurry up. Grandpa is still watching." My eyes became sour and suddenly I remembered that when Grandpa once found out that Jason and I were secretly in love, he chased Jason with his cane and beat him. "Boy, if you don't marry Jocelyn in the future, I won't let you off, old man." At that time Jason patted his chest and promised, "Don't worry, old man. In this life, I'll only marry Jocelyn." If there hadn't been that misunderstanding at the beginning, Jason and Grandpa would surely have lived happily together. Jason and I decided to hold a Western-style wedding in a big church in the east of City Y. When the wedding ceremony was halfway through and Jason was about to put the ring on me, suddenly the door of the church was pushed open violently. "I won't allow you to get married." Ryan rushed in like a madman, his clothes in disarray and the buttons on his chest not properly fastened. He seemed to have been drinking heavily for days and smelled strongly of alcohol. He pointed at Jason, his eyes red. "Jocelyn, how can you go with him?" He wanted to come and drag me, but Jason kicked him away. "Get out." Ryan crawled on the ground in a mess for a long time before he managed to stand up. Then he tremblingly took out a small folding knife from his trouser leg. Jason thought he was going to attack me, so he quickly wrapped me in his arms and protected me tightly. However, Ryan just knelt down and said to the priest in English, "Father, please ask my wife to forgive me. I can't just watch her leave me. Without her, I'll die." The priest closed his eyes and ignored Ryan's behavior. Ryan took a sharp breath and laughed at himself. With tears in his eyes he raised the folding knife and cut his wrist. "Jocelyn, please don't marry someone else, okay? Without you I can't live." The bright red blood soaked his shirt and dropped onto the ground one by one. Jason frowned and said to the security guard beside him, "Call the police." I remained unmoved and didn't even change my expression. Ryan's eyes were full of sorrow. He looked at me, his voice choked, "Please, Jocelyn. Have pity on me." I remained unmoved and didn't even change my expression. By now I even felt it was unnecessary to say a word to Ryan. So I simply turned my head away and didn't look at him anymore. Ryan knelt down humbly all the way and walked in front of me. He stretched out his clean right hand to grab my dress. "Just look at me one more time, Jocelyn. Could you please look at me one more time? Look, I'm being careful. This hand of mine is clean and won't dirty your wedding dress." Seeing that I didn't move, Ryan cut himself again, and finally, he was almost stabbing himself in the heart. Unfortunately, he was taken away by the police, who arrived in time. It was only then that I realized that Jason's palm holding mine was sweating slightly. Later, under my coercion and persuasion, he was willing to tell me that he had been terribly scared at that time. "What were you afraid of?" I asked in confusion. "I was afraid that you would be soft-hearted and go with Ryan. If you really went with him, I'm afraid I wouldn't even have the courage to follow and chase after you." I gave him an annoyed look. Am I the kind of person who would go back to someone? After Ryan was deported back to China, we also returned to China. Most of Jason's main business was in China, and he couldn't leave most of the time. As soon as we got off the plane, I saw overwhelming reports. Huge loopholes were found in the financial statements of the Yenji Group, and Ryan himself was suspected of tax evasion. I looked up at him. "Did you ask someone to investigate this?" Jason nodded and didn't refute. "However, he didn't do this. Just wait and see. The best is yet to come." We drove back to Jason's suburban villa. We saw Ryan waiting at the door and Ruby was kneeling at Ryan's feet begging him, "Brother Ryan, please. I really need this money. I have to save my dad." Ryan kicked her in the chest and scolded angrily, "Who gave you the guts to touch my phone? If you hadn't sent those text messages to Jocelyn and her grandpa blindly, would she have divorced me?" I raised my eyebrows. Suddenly, I remembered the abusive text messages Ryan sent me in the first few days when Jason and I went to City L. So it was Ruby who sent them? Jocelyn, you're back. Ryan looked up and noticed me. He happily ran towards me, like a child trying to take credit, and explained to me frantically, "It's all a misunderstanding, Jocelyn. I didn't send those text messages to you. I only found out later when I asked someone to check my phone that Ruby had sent so many vulgar words to you with my phone." I nodded slightly with a calm expression. "Oh. It can only be said that what goes around comes around. He deserved it." Ryan opened his mouth wanting to argue something but finally remained silent. He seemed to understand the meaning of my words in an instant. At the beginning he had sent random text messages with my phone which made Jason and I miss each other for several years. Now he was suffering the consequences. Ruby took his phone and ruined his originally peaceful and happy life. Ryan smiled awkwardly and took out a bank card from his wallet and gave it to me. "This is what I owe you. I'm sorry for the things that hurt you before." This action immediately made Ruby, who was lying on the ground crying bitterly, turn red with envy. She rushed over like a madwoman, snatched the bank card, and protected it in her arms. "Ryan, don't you have money? If you have money, why don't you lend it to me? My dad is in the intensive care unit. Are you really so cruel that you won't save him even if he's dying?" Ryan reached out to snatch the bank card back. "If your dad hadn't seen you lying with his 50-year-old childhood friend, would he have had a heart attack from anger? Ruby, don't say you love me. I only regard you as my sister." Ruby got angry and bit Ryan's arm directly. "Just a sister? Why did you, my dear sister, make a promise to be with me forever? What a load of crap. Who would believe that you're just a sister? If it weren't for helping you with business negotiations, would I have gone to the bar with that man? Would I have drunk the wine that he spiked?" Suddenly she gave a malicious smile. "Ryan, do you want to keep Jocelyn now? I tell you, there's no way." Ruby turned to look at me and said in a crazy way, "Jocelyn, actually, since you were 18 years old, all the gifts that Ryan gave you every year, like lipstick gift boxes, diamond necklaces, 9,999 roses, and even the game cartridge he gave you this year, were all prepared by Jason. He told me that when he was drunk." "You tell me, isn't he a scumbag?" Ryan's face changed. He grabbed Ruby's hair and slammed her head against the ground. "Shut up. I just didn't know what to give Jocelyn, so I asked Jason for advice." Ruby was crying and laughing at the same time. Her tears mixed with the blood from the cut on her forehead caused by the stones smeared all over her face. "Really? Then how did you know to book the hotel half a month in advance for my birthday?" "Ryan, stop talking nonsense. Actions always speak louder than words. You're such a scumbag who wants what's on the other side of the fence and doesn't cherish what you've got." I wasn't interested in watching them fight like dogs. I dialed 110, opened the door, closed it, and locked it. In the evening when Jason went to take a shower, I heard his mobile phone constantly receiving text messages, so I shouted towards the bathroom, "Jason, someone is looking for you. It seems to be urgent. Could you please check who it is for me, honey?" I silently entered my birthday and unlocked Jason's mobile phone. What caught my eye was a bunch of filthy swear words. Judging from the tone, I could tell even without thinking that it must be Ruby. Ruby probably got Jason's phone number from Ryan. She sent crazy text messages scolding him. "Was it you who gave those photos to my father? Now my father is so angry that he's dead because of you. Are you happy now? Jason, you're a murderer. I won't let you off." I directly dialed back. The moment the call was connected, I snapped back, "Ruby, this is karma. How you treated my grandfather before has now come back to haunt your father." After that, without giving her a chance to respond, I hung up the phone directly. Jason in the bathroom while wiping his hair gave me an approving look. "Well scolded, honey. You've made progress." The next news about Ryan and Ruby was what we saw on the news headlines. The truth about Ryan's tax evasion had been found out. All of this was Ruby's doing. Since she joined the company, she had been embezzling the company's money from time to time. At first it was just a few small amounts, and then she became greedier and greedier. Until her father had an accident, she embezzled 2 million yuan at once. When she was arrested by the police, Ruby was crying and shouting, "I did it all to save my father. Can't you just forgive me? After I marry Ryan in the future, I'll have a share in the company and then the money won't be considered stolen." Ryan threw eggs at her in public. "Stop dreaming. Who would marry such a vicious woman like you?" After the police left, countless reporters surrounded Ryan, asking about the future direction of the Yenji Group. Ryan was silent for a long time. Finally, he bowed towards the camera and only said 2 sentences, "Sorry, Jocelyn. I love you." Hearing this, I immediately spat into the trash can. Later, the Yenji Group announced bankruptcy. In just 2 weeks, the once magnificent office building was emptied out like a deserted city. After the Yenji Group announced bankruptcy, Ryan disappeared without a trace. Some paparazzi claimed that they had photographed a homeless man in the slums who looked very much like Ryan. However, as soon as the homeless man saw the paparazzi, he quickly ran away. Until the day when Jason and I had our baby. Ryan sent someone to bring gifts. Toys, baby bottles, baby clothes. We were tacitly in agreement and decided unanimously not to even look at them and just threw them directly into the trash can. The next day, Ryan's secretary came to tell us that Ryan had committed suicide. At that time, I was coaxing the baby in the cradle. My movements paused for a moment and then quickly returned to normal. He handed me a letter and then left. Jason asked me if I wanted to read it. I shook my head. "Forget it." I took the letter paper from Jason's hand and threw it into the burning fireplace. The raging fire devoured the pale yellow letter paper. All my painful past also disappeared completely along with it. Later, when cleaning up the ashes in the fireplace, I caught a glimpse of a corner where there was a piece of the letter paper that hadn't burned completely. I picked it up and took a look. That was probably the last line that Ryan wrote in the letter: "Jocelyn, in the next life, can we start over again?" Without any hesitation, I lit another fire and threw that piece of letter paper into it. "Ryan, may we never meet again in all our lives."